Om. 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 Sahana vavatu. Sahanau bhunaktu. Sah viryam karavavai. Vinavaditamastu. Ma vidvishavahai. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect where we are in the study of chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. So far, we have looked at 30 verses. In the past, close to 19 verses, Sri Krishna is talking about the body and the Atma and reminding Arjuna that he should always realize that he's the Atma and not the body. That was the topic, and I think, as mentioned in the last session, that there were two delusions which Arjuna was suffering from. The first thing is identification with the body, so which is what was tackled by Sri Krishna in the first those verses out until the verse 30th. Hereafter, there are 8 verses where he's talking about Swadharma. What's Dharma? And in Dharma of Kshatriya also he is covering. So we will take a look at them. I was not available for any questions last week. If there are any questions related to them, you can ask now or you can ask at the end if there are questions. With those words, let's go start the session with the 31st verse. Swadharmamapi javekshya na vikampitum arhasi. Dharmyadhi dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyo anyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Swadharmamapi chavekshya na vikampitum arhasi. Dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyo anyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Swadharmamapi chavekshya na vikampitum arhasi. Dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Let's look at some pronunciation aspects of this verse. Swadharmamapi. In the first word, Swadharmamapi, the word the second letter, the is an aspirated consonant, so make sure that you pay attention to that. The rest of the words do not have any aspirated consonants, but you may pay attention to chavekshya. The ksha is the cerebral ksha, so you can pay some attention. In the second line, dharmyadhi, in that word, the first one letter, the, is aspirated just the same way swadha. And the last letter, it's a compound letter, which is ud and the. So idhi. So the second letter in that compound consonant is an aspirated one. Okay. The same thing is happening in the second letter in the next word, yuddha. Again, the same dha appears, it has to aspirate. So uddha is the compound consonant. The second letter in the compound consonant is an aspirated consonant. Then ichre, that ch, there's this ch. As you can see, there are three letters in this compound consonant, ich, and r. Okay. That's how you get icheo. The second or the middle consonant is an aspirated consonant. Middle letter, which is a ch. Yanyat kshatriyasya na vidyate, no other aspirated consonant. Again, kshatriya, just pay attention because it's uk and cerebral sha, uksha. Okay. Those are some pronunciation related aspects. Let's look at the sandhi split now. Swadharmam api is made of two words. Swadharmam api. The and a join to make ma, so it becomes swadharma mapi. The next word is chaveksha. It's made of two words, cha and aveksha. Cha plus a becomes cha, a longer cha, chaveksha. Na stands alone. The next word, vikampitum arhasi, is made up of two words, vikampitum and arhasi. Again, and a joined to make ma. So it becomes vikampitum marhasi because of the sandhi. Let's look at the second line. The first word is dharmyadhi. Actually, it's made of two words, dharmyat and he. The it and he, when they come together, the it turns into id. Okay, it is the first letter in the third class of consonants. It becomes the third letter in the third class of consonant, which is the. So it becomes id, and he becomes the. Okay, so it becomes the. So it's a very familiar sandhi. So, okay, so dharmyat, he becomes dharmyadhi. Okay, the next one, yuddhat shreyonyat. It's made of three words, yuddhat, shreya, and anyat. In the first two words, when they come together, yuddhat, and shreya, the it becomes cha. So it becomes yuddhach. And shreya becomes shreyo. The ish actually has become the second letter in the cha varga. So that's how you get yuddhachreya. It's a very common sandhi when sha is involved with certain letters. And that sha becomes cha. This is a common occurrence we can find. So it's yuddhachreya. Again, the visarga in the shreya and the anyat join together. So the visarga becomes u. So ya plus u becomes yo, and the becomes silent. The silent a is denoted by this S-shaped avagraha. It becomes shreyonyat. Okay, shreyonyat. So it becomes yuddhat shreyaha, and anyat becomes yuddhat shreyonyat. Okay. The next three words stand alone. There are no sandhi related changes. Kshatriyasya, na, and vidyate. Now let's look at the word to word meaning. Swadharmam is the first word. Swa means own, oneself. Dharma is dharma, or there's no real good translation of the word dharma. That's the inherent nature, you can say, of oneself. But nature means it's a nature which is disciplined and which is controlled. Sometimes nature means whatever we think we do is not in the nature. Swami would say human nature is the human values, not necessarily any of the other qualities. So that which dharayati, that which makes a person is a real swadharma. own dharma. That's a translator, the literal meaning. Api means even, you can say. Api, even, or also. Both kinds of meanings come in English. Cha is and. The next word is avekshya. Avekshya comes from the middle, the root word which it comes from is iksh. Iksh means to see or perceive. Avekshya has multiple meanings. Ava is the prefix for that root. Aveksh. Aveksha means the prefix of ava is added to iksh, which actually means to examine or observe or giving due consideration of a particular subject. So aviksha means having properly considered something is the meaning of aviksha. So I've given the word having regarded. You can say having observed, having examined, those meanings are also acceptable. Na means not. Vikampitum. Kampi. Kampa means to shake, waver. Vikampita means to shake quite a bit. Okay. Tum at the end means, it's called preposition, that means to waver. Okay. Arhasi means deserve. That's fit for you. So what it basically means is vikampitu na vikampitum arhasi. It is not proper for you to waver. Or you can say to waver is not proper for you, whichever way we take it. Why it is not good to put proper for you to waver? Because if you examine your swadharma, if you study your swadharma, if you consider your swadharma, you should not be wavering. You should, like if you're a human being, you should not behave in a certain way. That kind of meaning. So if you know that you are the Atman, so Swami is actually continuing, or Sri Krishna is continuing from where he left off, which is talking about Atman. If you really look at Atman and its dharma, you should not be wavering. So it's an extension of the previous topic, but it's a segue into the next topic, which is Swadharma. First, he has established who you are, which is Atman. Now he's going to say, what is your dharma? So Swadharma, if you examine your Swadharma, you should not waver. Then he goes on to say, Dharmyat. Dharmyat means whatever comes from the dharma. Not only that, that dharma which is the only part of dharma which can be called dharma. Dharmya means that which is worthy of being called dharma is dharmya. So dharmyat means through that, from that quality of righteousness. Okay. He indeed yuddhat compared to war. Yuddha means war. Yuddhat. Shreya. Shreya means greater, something which is loftier. Also we can say Shreya. Anyat means another. Kshatriyasya means Kshatriya is a warrior, or who is one of the warrior class. Kshatriyasya means of a Kshatriya, that which belongs to a Kshatriya. Na is no, vidyate exists. Okay. So Krishna is saying, for a Kshatriya, there's nothing greater, nothing loftier as dharma than war. Yuddha, there's nothing compared to a yuddha which is loftier for a Kshatriya. So that's what this statement, that's what this verse says. I will run a short summary, so we'll look at the summary first. Also, even having regarded own dharma, it is not proper for you to waver. Okay. There's nothing greater for a kshatriya compared to a righteous war. Because dharmiya, the word dharmiya is given. The yuddha can be also combined with dharma. Okay. So if we go back, so if you get dharmiyat and yuddhat, they all having the same ending. So one is an adjective of the other. Okay. Righteous yuddha. There's so nothing more proper for a kshatriya than a righteous war. So that's what Krishna is saying. So one thing we should understand here is in almost every other uh, explanation or commentary on this verse, no one actually treats this as an Atma Dharma. Okay. Um, there's some confusion in general, but it's my opinion based on my study of Swami. Swami has very, very clearly explained this. Because if we are the Atman, how can this was the confusion of Arjuna also. So on one point he thinks he is the body, so he's a Kshatriya. He has to fight. But he thinks his relatives are there in front of him, so he should not fight. So that is itself is a problem because he's saying, I'm a Kshatriya, yes, I had to fight, but these people are my relatives and my gurus and teachers. How can I fight? So he's not talking it from the point of even Atman. Even as a Kshatriya, if he takes his body as himself, also he's making the mistake. No, in this case, I will not. Okay, double standard. So he's mixing it up. So if you take the body as yourself, then you follow the body dharma. Okay. Yes, sister. I don't know. You have raised your hand or maybe
Right.
missed.
Sai, I'm sorry. Brother, even I am confused. Like a thing, see, body dharma, you are talking about Kshatriya, he has to do his duty. Okay, fine. But as he's saying on a relative side also, it's a body, right? Or no?
Yes, it is
So
body
sometimes
exactly.
you have a two things to look into it.
No. Okay.
Sometimes don't you? That's what we come across, right? Say, maybe it's not right, but you come across.
See, it is like this. Let's give another example. I work for a company. Okay, I have to post a job and hire somebody. Is it proper for me to hire my relatives? Prefer my relatives or my child, my brother, my sister over anyone else?
Okay, in that
I'm
case, the
related.
task is
I'm related. I'm hiring as a employee of a bank, employee of an organization. Personal things should not come there.
okay.
Even at the physical level, it is not proper for me to hire somebody known personally for some personal human bodily relationship. I'm performing a role and the role has its dharma.
Okay.
When I go home, I can do whatever I have to. But when I'm in the office, I am functioning as a person belonging to the office. I cannot mix it up. So at a human level, just forget Atma. Even at a human level, we should not let our physical personal connections interfere with our professional role. Then that is not proper dharma. Arjuna, this is what was his problem. He's in the battlefield as a warrior. He should not bring other factors into play there.
Okay. Every task you have to analyze it. What is
The role you're playing, you have to be very, very clear.
okay?
Very,
Thank you.
very clear. Because most problems come when we confuse ourselves from what the role is. An individual plays many roles in life, but each time you should say, what's the role which I'm playing here and what is the right thing?
Thank you.
Arjuna is making a mistake there. So this is a form of nepotism, or whatever you want to call it. You are partial to people, your people. That is not proper for a Kshatriya. This is what Arjuna is trying to say. You have come to fight. You don't think, oh, at home, then you better go home. But if you go home leaving your job, people will laugh at you because you're not doing your job and you're running away. This is what Krishna is telling you. You are running away from the battlefield. People will call you all sorts of names. So I think we should know what is our role, what's our function, and how we should behave in that situation. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, as soon as we take a look at things physically, we should know things change. At each point, depending on what you are doing, you will have to take on that role and perform that function. So as a Kshatriya, he didn't say as an Arjuna. He didn't say as a student of Drona. In a classroom, you be a student. Nothing wrong with it. There you respect. But now you have come to the battlefield to wage a war. This should not interfere with your thinking or your decision making. You should be very, very objective. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Okay. Yes, Sister Vani.
Sairam, brother. So some, we may, as you said, we may take many roles. And sometimes the conflict comes if we are in dual role. Like Manu Chola, he was a king and he was the father. He took priority as a king first before him being the father. So, what would be the right thing to do? You take that higher role. I mean, in this case, Manu Dharma, he took that role of a king.
Generally, the higher dharma is dharma which brings benefit for the vast world. Okay, that's the higher. Okay, if there are more benefit to the world, that is the highest. Individual comes last. Swami says God first, others second, you last. So that is the order in which we should make any decision. That's what you are asking. Yes. So whenever you make a decision, even as an individual at home, we should make sure that we consider everything. We should not take away from what belongs to the others. So I think that order we should be very, very clear. That's number one, sister. I hope that answers your question. That what is higher is that brings highest good for maximum number of people. I hope that.
Thank you, brother.
Sister. So I think all these things we should know. What is my role? What am I doing? Whatever I am doing, is it for the benefit of the larger good goal? I think those things we have to say, and that's what Krishna is trying to drive home here. Both, yes, Sister Vrinda.
Sorry, brother. Okay, so my question is, I don't know whether it's related to this, but then I'm thinking, Swami has said no one has the right to judge or, criticize my devotees. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, when it comes to organization, Swami's organizations, or as a person, how we have to deal? So,
Yeah, very good question, Sister. I think, objective evaluation of a situation is not judgment. It is just weighing the pros and cons and coming to a decision. But judgment, the way, in English translation is not necessarily the best, but judgment is where emotions also come into play. They would say when you have a professional judgment, your emotion should not interfere. The objectivity should not be interfered by emotions. But generally what happens when we judge a person, that's an emotional component and we feel we are we are self-righteous. We feel we are superior and they are inferior. As a person, individual, there's no harm in judging an action of somebody. But it should not go into judging a person. See, Rama felt Ravana has to be killed. But Rama did not hate Ravana. Krishna told Arjuna, kill the Kauravas. But that is, do you think it's judgment? No, it was a decision based on certain established principles of righteousness. That this is what they are doing is not dharmic. So it has to be put to an end. So if as long as we don't let our emotions interfere our judgment, it's okay to evaluate something. For example, if somebody is indulging in some bad activity, you need to know that it's a bad activity. I don't want to be part of it. So objectivity, as long as there's objectivity in your evaluation, I don't think it is judgment, but of a particular event, but a particular action. But once that is done, our actions also should be very objective. Swami will say if somebody made a mistake, for example, this is something Swami has specifically told. If you think somebody has done something bad, tell them in the front. We don't need to talk to X, Y, or Z. That is proper. If anyone indulges in that without a person's presence being talking bad about them, it is not good. That means we are judging. Swami will say, speak to the person in front. But sometimes we are scared to sound bad, so these are things, problems. Otherwise, we just tell Swami and move on. But generally, then we think, no, we have to solve this problem. So that is when judgment comes in, and sometimes people don't know whether they are judging or whether they are acting with objectivity. Once emotion. So I think this is the whole problem. Actively, objectively, I think that's what I would say. It's a very nuanced topic, I guess, in some but I will just leave it at that. I hope I answered your question or not.
Yes, brother. Thank you, Saira.
Saira. We should not carry that thought beyond a particular point in time. We should be like a knife. Once it cuts something, you take the knife, you should clean it and put it away. That's not judgment. That is acting with decisiveness. I think that's very important. That's my understanding. I think Swami has covered some of this in other places, like Saira. Now there's some excerpts which I have, so let's go through them. And I think it's essential. And then you will know how Swami is different from explaining many of these concepts from anyone else we can ever encounter. So we'll see. People think Swadharma is related to their caste and religion, just like Kshatriya Dharma, Brahmin Dharma, Vaishya Dharma, etc. But this is not the real meaning of Swadharma. Swa means Atma. Therefore, Atma Dharma is Swadharma and Deha Dharma is Paradharma. Similarly, there is the single letter I and the three letter I, EYE. Single letter I represents Atma. The three-lettered I, the body. Without the body, one cannot realize the Atma. And without the Atma, the body cannot exist. Therefore, the unity of the Atma, the individual soul, and the body is termed as Triputi or Trikuta, coming together of three aspects. In this manner, Vedanta explains most profound truths in simple and subtle terms. So Swami in this verse has very clearly explained what is Swadharma and what is Deha Dharma. So in the verse which we read, the first line talks about Swadharma, the second line talks about Paradharma, body related. But also Swami has gone to say, we have to take these together. We should not ignore the Atma. we should not ignore the body because both of them coexist. So Krishna in that verse has touched upon both Swadharma as well as Paradharma. Under both these cases, Arjuna had to fight without wavering. If he thinks he's Atman also, he should fight. If he thinks Kshatriya also, he should fight. That's what Krishna has told. We can read any commentary, any bhashya. This kind of explanation is nowhere to be found. So Swami is very, very clear what is Swadharma and Atma Dharma, and what is Paradharma and Deha Dharma. But both of them have to be taken together in all situations. Then we will not waver, we will act with determination and fix it. I think that's what Swami has said. Also, I just wanted to, this Swami sells many places. There's a single letter I, and the three letter I, E-I-E, E-Y-E. So generally, why Swami says I is inner eye. The second eye is whatever we see. So that means we are seeing the body as something. So second eye is part of the body. There's another explanation for this. In Sanskrit, the word I for the eye is Nayana. One of the names of eyes is Nayana. So there's Na first, then it's a Ya second, and third is also Na. So what they say is the body was not there first, Na. Then it exists, Ya. Then it becomes Na. It goes away. So the body is impermanent. That is why E-Y-E, Na, Ya, Na. Whereas I, Aham, is eternal, everlasting. One is the Atman, other one is the body. So Swami is nicely putting all this together. So I found wonderful. This one verse itself, this one paragraph explains this verse very nicely. It's at least one of the concepts. So we'll continue to read. As the universe is constituted by the three gunas, tamas, rajas, and sattva, and is permeated by them, the first stage in spiritual sadhana is to put an end to tamasic quality. The tamoguna is characterized by murkatvam, foolish obstinacy. A tamasic person lacks intelligence and is inclined to indulge in meaningless questioning and argumentation. It is essential to get rid of such tendencies. Every issue should be deeply studied and the conclusion should be digested. Only then will the experience be rewarding. Endless verbal debates over every trivial matter should be avoided. Such controversies result only in provoking bitterness instead of harmony. They do not serve to reveal the truth. The tamasic person is incapable of perceiving the truth and cannot realize the divine. He will be caught in an endless cycle of birth and death. The person with Rajoguna is one who is excessively happy when he gets what he desires. His ego gets inflated thereby. When his desires are not fulfilled, he develops hatred. Thus, the Rajasic person, whether the desires are fulfilled or not, the effects are not good. He is consumed by anger and bitterness. Rajasic qualities make a person hot-blooded and hot-tempered. The third quality is sattva. Even this results in a form of bondage. It becomes a redeeming quality when all pure and meritorious actions are done as an offering to the divine. The three gunas are represented by different colors. Tamas is depicted in black. It symbolizes darkness and ignorance. The Rajoguna, which rouses anger and hatred in a person, excites his blood and turns his eyes red, is represented by the red color. The Sattva Guna, which is characterized by purity and dedication, is represented by the white color. Everyone in the world is a creature of one or the other of these three gunas. One's actions are based on these gunas. The Varna's categorization of men under different types in the Gita has been made on the basis of their guna karma vibhagasaha, respective qualities and actions. At birth, every person is ignorant. When he dies, he should die as a jnani. It's not written properly, but it's okay. I will continue. A man who has perceived the truth. Likewise, everyone is a Shudra at birth. This means he is an ajnani, ignorant person. But when he dies, he should die as a Brahmana, jnani, who has realized Brahman. It is on the basis, or it is on this basis that the four Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, had come into existence. Those with predominantly tamasic qualities comprise one group. Those who are prone to excitement and anger form another category. And those who are inclined to renounce everything and who are pure in thought, word, and deed form a third group. The ignorant and the dull-witted were described as Shudras. The excitable and courageous and high-spirited were described as Kshatriyas. Those who were devoted to God and led a pure and sanctified life were described as Brahmanas. These categories were associated with the qualities and actions. Straying from this basic truth, the social system took a wrong turn. The result is that today society is riven by innumerable divisions and conflicts. Actually, among the Varnas groups, one cannot be called high and another low. For instance, sage Vyasa classified the single corpus of the Vedas into 4 different collections. Among the 4, can one be ranked higher than another? All have equal status and authority, are equally sacred, and preach the same path of righteousness. Likewise, when men are classified according to their qualities and vocations, one category cannot be regarded as superior to another. No one is competent to determine such ranking. It is through narrow-minded interpretations that such distinctions and divisions have been made to the detriment of social harmony and progress. The right to interpret the Shastras is given to the Brahmanas. But Brahmanas have been defined as those who have made a thorough study of the Shastras, who have no self-interest, and who live up to Shastric injunctions. Anyone may acquire these qualifications. They are not confined to any caste on the basis of birth. Only qualities and actions are determining factors and not birth. A Kshatriya is one who is prepared to lay down his life for his country. The nation's safety should mean more to him than the protection of his body. This attitude of sacrifice may be displayed by anyone, and he should be regarded as a Kshatriya. All those engaged in agriculture have been described as Shudras. Everyone needs food. If food is not grown by the so-called Shudras, the world will perish. The entire purpose of classifying people according to their qualifications and functions is to ensure that persons in each category carry on their duties with dedication. It is a failure to maintain the purity and sacredness of the system as envisaged by the Shastras that has resulted in the indefensible divisions and social chaos. So that's a discourse Swami gave January 1988. We'll continue. It's another excerpt I have. Yes, sister.
Sorry. See, in the 2 slides before, the Sutras are mentioned as ignorant,
Yes.
and here the Sutras are agriculture. Is a 2 different contexts they are using here?
Same, sister.
Why then they?
Okay. Everyone is born as a Shudra. That's what Swami
Yeah.
said. And the Shudras do cultivation of food. Two things Swami has said. So what Swami is saying is a person who is lowly skilled, that means he doesn't have skills of, who has not pursued education and things like that. They are also equally useful in a society as long as they are contributing. Just because they are working with the apps in modern term, they will say blue collar worker, white collar worker. Blue collar workers may be people who are working in factories and industries and of certain kind. They may be considered as low skilled. The fact that they're given a low skilled job does not mean that they are low. Maybe the pay is being low today, that's the reality of things. But for the effort someone puts in, they are given the pay. It happens even in any part of the world. They will say this person's a low scar. But even when you go to an organization, they will say this person can be his managerial potential is there or something like that. So there are different classes of people who work. So Shudras generally are doing activities in a society, economic activities, of a certain degree of skill. They are considered Shudras. Whereas Swami says Brahmana is someone who can study, interpret, and who has studied the way the Shastras in very well. So they become skilled in interpreting and explaining what the Shastras contain. They have different roles in the society. That by itself should not make someone superior, someone inferior, Swami says. And then Swami also goes on to say, I think this is also important. Swami says, the entire purpose of classifying people according to their qualifications and functions. So that means qualifications is also necessary. If a person who is not skilled, say, I also want to do that job, then if that person is appointed for that job, that is also a problem. So everyone should be assigned a role for which they have the skills and the knowledge. But if when we don't do something like that, we actually cause confusion even in an organization. If a person who doesn't have knowledge of engineering is appointed as the chief engineer, it's a problem. They don't have the skills nor the qualifications to do that. So I think even a spiritual organization, certain things have to be looked at. Everything should be assigned according to their qualifications and the functions that function requires. Swami has been very, very clear about these things. So we should know whenever a person is appointed for any role to evaluate whether they have the necessary skills, knowledge, and the qualification. If we don't do that, there will be unnecessarily chaos in the organization also. Just the way there is chaos in the world. That's what Swami says. I will again read this. The entire purpose of classifying people according to their qualification and function is to ensure that persons in each category carry on their duties with dedication. It is a failure to maintain purity and the sacredness of the system as envisaged by the Shastras that has resulted in indefensible divisions and social chaos. So even in any organization, when there's a problem, there's conflict, we should find out, have we done some wrong appointments? Okay, that is the system of Varna classification. Nothing to say someone is superior or someone is inferior. But the knowledge, skills, and ability will determine that for performing a role. But when we don't do that, there's always conflict and there's chaos. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, Santa Sarko, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sai Ram. Out of the 4 Varnas, Bhagavan has given for the Vaishyas only one sentence. Those who are inclined to renounce everything and who appear in thought, word, and deed form a third group. Can you expand it, please?
Okay, I think Swami said about 4 Varnas, but he prescribed one quality for each of the classes, but there are only 3 gunas. So Swami mentioned Shudra, Swami mentioned Kshatriya, Swami mentioned Brahmana.
Brahmanas.
He did not mention anything about Vaishya. I think that's your question.
Yeah.
So what are their qualities is your question.
Yes.
So the thing is, Vaishya belongs between the Shudra and the Kshatriya. There are other places Swami has mentioned that. So Vaishya is someone who is a little more knowledgeable. And they also perform certain roles of financial security in the society. So in that sense, they become financial Kshatriyas. But they also perform trade, and they facilitate trade and all the other activities which go on in society. So to that extent, they are doing certain Shudra functions, in the sense they are performing certain activities, trading, agriculture, and things like that also. So they sort of fall between Shudra and Kshatriya. So they have generally a balanced extent of Shudra, Tamasic and the Rajasic qualities. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Saira.
Thank you, Saira.
Yes, sir. So again, we should understand that in all these classes, other gunas are also present. Shudra also can be a sattvic person. Vaishya also can become a sattvic person. That means they can also develop certain Brahminical tendencies in them. Nothing is stopping them from that. And they also can study Shastras. They also can perform sadhana of a Brahmana. Maybe they are not going to interpret and analyze Shastras, but everyone has the duty as well as the right to study the Shastras. I hope that answers your question. Like, for example, even if in an organization, if I join at a lower rung, I don't have the technical knowledge or skill sets, I can always learn. My knowledge and skill can be as good as the person who is managing me. But that doesn't mean I tell you move over, I'm going to sit on your chair. Then chaos starts. So everyone can learn as a student. I can still remain a Shudra and learn. But in today's world, people want to hold positions before they are qualified for it. And that causes disharmony, unnecessary conflict, a lack of mutual respect. Everything comes. So I think we have to be very careful when we do any of this. Yes, Auntie Saku, please go ahead.
Yeah. And now you say that any group can learn the Shastras, and they can become knowledgeable, and they can practice. In that case, still they have to belong to the group that they have born.
So the thing is, generally that is the acceptable practice, because it unnecessarily causes confusion. If somebody who is born in a certain tendency tries to do something else, all this modern day war, unhappiness is all because of that, because people want to be somebody else. And they also lack the judgment and self-awareness to evaluate whether they are fit for that or not. So this is a problem. But see, the thing is, we are in Sanatana Dharma, when we have earned the right qualities and skill sets, we'll in our next life we'll be born in a situation where we can practice what we want. It is just like an organization. I join a particular role. While doing that role, I can expand my knowledge, skills, and everything. And then I have to apply for a job and get it. I can't say right away I'm going to function in that role. So the Sanatana Dharma believes as soon as someone develops certain skills, in the next life, if they have not attained moksha, which I think many here want to attain in this life, but if we do not attain moksha, whatever we are cultivating in us will assure you another birth in a very conducive environment where we can pursue what we have done today better, which is again Krishna assures in the Bhagavad Gita. For anyone who wants to progress, this life you just study, you are a student. Next life I will give you whatever you want to be. I think that's understanding, Auntie, I hope.
Thank you. So clear. Thank you. Thank you.
Sairam, Sairam.
Right.
So in this context, I should say, I have a personal experience because in 1983, when Swami did the mass Upanayanam for Brahmin children, all the students was Bharti, he was performing. So I also wanted to get, because I was learning Vedam, I thought I also should have Upanayanam done. So in an interview of Family God, we asked Swami, and Swami said, no, that's just a tradition of certain traditions, of certain lineage. You don't need it. But you can try to live like a Brahmana. That's what he said. So I hope that answers your question. Saira. There's another excerpt. Oh, I think we have done all the excerpts. Okay, I have another one. Next verse, if it's okay. We'll go to the next verse. Yadrichaya chopapannam swargadwaramapavritam sukhinah kshatriya partha labhante yuddham idrisham. Yadrichaya chopapannam swargadwaramapavritam sukhinah kshatriya partha labhante yuddham idrisham. Yadrichaya chopapannam swargadwaram apavritam sukhinah kshatriya partha labhante yuddham idrisham. We'll look at some pronunciation aspects. The first word, yadrichaya, the third letter, icha, is a compound consonant. There are two chas. The first one is unaspirated cha, the second one is aspirated. So the second letter is cha, just the way we saw it in the previous verse as well. So please pay attention to that. Chopapannam swargadwaram apavritam. There are no aspirated consonants. The next line, sukhinah, the k in the first, second letter in the first word is an aspirated consonant. Sukhinah. And the next word is kshatriya. Again, ksha, the sha is cerebral sha. Pay attention. The next word, partha, the th is the second letter in the tha varga and it has to be aspirated. Partha. The next word, labhante, the bha is aspirated. Labha. Okay. Labhante. In the last word, yuddha, the uddha, the second letter in the compound letter consonant uddha is aspirated. So first is not aspirated. The second is aspirated. Nidrisham, no other aspirated. So as you can see, almost every single word seems to have in the second line an aspirated consonant. We look at sandhi related changes for this verse. Yadrichaya cha upa. Yadrichaya, no sandhi related changes. The next one, chopapannam, is made of two words, cha and upapannam. Cha and u joined to become cho. I think I mentioned before also, a and u, when they come together, it becomes o. So cha and u becomes cho. Chopapannam. The next word, swargadwaram apavritam. Swargadwaram and apavritam are the two words. And a joined to become ma. So swargadwaram apavritam. In the next line, shukinaha, kshatriyaha, partha, no sandhi related changes. Labhante also no change. The last word, yuddhami drisham. There, yuddham and idrisham are the two words. And e together become me. Yuddhami drisham. Okay, so I will stop there. We'll go to word meaning. Yadrichaya. by chance. Where there are many Tamil people here, so the word which is equivalent to that is edechaya. Means it just happens by chance. Okay. I think if there are North Indians, they would say samyog say or something like that, they say. It just happened by things coming together. Okay. Yadricha, by chance, cha and upapannam. Upapannam, that has happened. Something has taken place. Some situation has come about. Okay. Swargadwaram. Swarga means heaven. Dwaram means the doorway to heaven. Swargadwaram. Dwaram means generally the people say it's a hole in Tamil and all, but actually it's a door. An opening is Dwaram. So entrance to heaven is Swargadwaram. Apavritam, unlocked. Avrita means to cover. Apavrita means opening the cover. That means the door is open now. Swargadwaram Upavrita means the doorway to heaven is open. Okay. Sukhinaha. I think all of us will be familiar. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. That sukhino is nothing but sukhinaha. So that means those who are happy, sukhinaha. Those who are comfortable. Nothing is bothering them. They are sukhinaha. Kshatriyaha means Kshatriyas, warriors. Means people who save others from sorrow are Kshatriyas. Okay. Partha is addressing Arjuna. Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Partha, son of Prithva. Pritha is Sukunti's name, or you can say Prithvi Putra also, Partha. Swami says we are all also Partha. Labhante, obtain. Okay. Yuddham. Yuddham means this war. Idrisham of this kind. Sorry, I forgot to write the summary. But I will just say the summary. Maybe I will write it, and I think I forgot. So what this says is Krishna is telling Arjuna, Sukhina Kshatriya, the warriors who are happy, who are in a good state, they obtain labante, yuddham, idrisham, this kind of war. Okay. Yadrichya upapannam swargadwaram apa. So this opportunity is something which has come up by chance, where the doorway to heaven is open. So Kshatriyas, don't go to war every day. Even, if our own army doesn't get to fight every day. They just prepare for war, but they never fight. So Krishna is telling, here is an opportunity you have come, got to fight. So for warrior, it's a good thing because their doorway to heaven is open. That is, if they die here, they will go to what's called Veera Swarga. Okay, that's the chance. So you have got this opportunity. You are a Kshatriya, you are not thinking that you are Atman and you are not worried about this. So here's a good opportunity for you. It has come by chance. So don't lose it. That's Krishna's encouragement to Arjuna. We'll go through some excerpts of Swami's. Recognizing this fact, Swami is continuing from there, but it should be okay. The Gita has indicated a 3-stage path to divinity. Engaging the body in good deeds, using the mind to develop good thoughts and human qualities and to contemplate on God through upasana, worshipping the divine. Man reaches the stage when, like a river joining the ocean, he merges in the Brahman. This is the process by which human becomes one with the divine. Whatever scriptures one may study, whatever sadhanas, the spiritual effort one may practice, or pilgrimages one may make, unless one succeeds in getting rid of the impurities in the heart, life will remain worthless and meaningless. Purification of the heart is the essence of all scriptural teachings and the basic goal of life. In this context, the Gita refers to swadharma, duties that accord with one's nature, and paradharma, duties prescribed for others. This translation is wrong, but I have just copied it as is. But you all know what is swadharma. Swadharma is that which relates to Atma, paradharma is what relates to the body. And says that the swadharma is conducive to the ennobling of the individual, while paradharma is fraught with fearful consequences. Swadharmo nidanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Adhering to one's dharma is commendable, while practicing paradharma is full of dangers. Swadharma does not mean the dharma relating to any caste, community, race, or religion. Swa means Atma. It's the dharma that's related to Atma, that's Swadharma. Paradharma is dharma related to the body, consciousness. All duties associated with the external world are comprised in paradharma. These duties will inevitably involve one in the bonds of samsaram, worldly life. Though they may confer temporary pleasures, they are bound to result in fear and anxiety. I just want to pause here. So as you can see, Swami has nicely, clearly explained. But some of the people who are working on improving the Sathya Sai speaks have, completely changed the meaning here. So I will leave it at that. But I have just copied it as is so that you all know that we have not tampered with whatever is publicly available. But as you can see, lots of in the translation and people's attempt, people are changing things without properly studying it. If anyone wants to know who did it, people in the US did it. I will just move on. In performing yagas and yajnas and other Vedic rituals, there is the danger that they may become instrument of bondage. We must ensure that in performing these good deeds, we do not develop ego or attachment. When anything is done with attachment or desire, it results in actions which lead to rebirth. Yagas and yajnas expect to take one to Swarga, heaven. But how long can the stay in heaven last? When the fruits of the good deeds have been enjoyed, one has to be born again on earth. Kshine punya martyalokam vishanti. When the accumulated merit is exhausted, one re-enters the mortal world. One must therefore seek what is permanent and eternal. That can be realized only through nishkama karma, desireless action. Every action done without ego leads to divinity. Ignoring this truth, man indulges in meaningless actions. People recite the Gita, achieve proficiency in expounding it, but do not live up to the message. The Gita is interpreted in many ways according to one's whims and fancies. The Gita and other scriptural texts are like kalpavriksham, the wish-fulfilling tree. They lend themselves to varied interpretation and meanings. But what matters is not the manifold interpretation, but the understanding derived from actual experience. Without putting into practice the teachings of the Gita, we cannot derive the bliss that can be got from it. Reciting the Gita endlessly or listening to it will be of no avail if nothing is done to purify one's heart and get rid of evil qualities like ego, selfishness, and pride. It is better to put into practice a single stanza of the Gita than to get by heart all the 700 shlokas. No spiritual study or sadhana can help to purify one's heart unless one makes the effort himself. And when the heart is purified, it becomes a worthy abode for the divine. Whatever you do you must regard it as a duty done without any motive of self-interest or selfish gain. It's only when all actions, whether they be yagas or yajnas or tapas or any kind of sadhana, are done as offerings to the divine, will they become sanctified and liberating. Though through Icha Shakti karmas, desire-filled actions, we take birth. Through Anasakti karmas, desireless actions, we can attain freedom from rebirth. The discourse Swami gave in 84. So it sort of clearly talks about what is Swadharma, what is Deha Dharma, what is Paradharma, Swadharma and Paradharma, Atma Dharma and Deha Dharma. So both these are covered in the verses here. So Swami will be covering this for the next 6 more verses to go, where he will elucidate on this concept of what is Swadharma and what is Paradharma. So hopefully we learn, and as Swami can say, no amount of study is good unless we put it in practice. We should strive to practice, and I hope Swami blesses us with the ability to slowly put them into practice in our lives and benefit from that. Okay, with that, I will stop. If there are any questions, you can ask.
Sairam, brother, may I make an announcement, please?
Okay, sister. There's a question, I think, from Sister Vani, but okay,
Vani,
go.
go ahead, please.
Thank you. So, from last class, there was a sentence of Krishna destroys the first and removes the second, which refers to the ordinary and out of ordinary. So, is the destroys and removes have the same meaning, or?
Yes, the thing is, sister, it is one has to be completely erased. So identification with the body has to be killed. Okay, it cannot be removed. It has to be fully destroyed because it is something which is so fundamental. Removing is something which has temporarily come on, it can be removed easily. So in the case of Arjuna, the identification with Atman was not there. He was always identifying with the body. That had to be killed. At no point should he have that attachment. Whereas he was a Kshatriya and he always fought also. He knew what his job was. But this became a very temporary thing for him to suddenly imagine. So it is easily removed for him. I think that's my understanding, sister. So I hope.
Thank you, brother.
So Sairam, everyone, we will close the session with Shanti. Samastalo. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.